This is it, ladies and gentlemen, a momentous day, because today we are going to be crafting one of the most difficult dragons that you can possibly obtain in Trove. Now, arguably, more dragons, there's a lot more dragons that are going to be more difficult to get than this one, strictly because with this dragon, there's no RNG involved. You don't have to try and farm for the fragments or anything like that. You don't have to try and hopefully get a golden dragon egg or, there's no dragon effigy that works with it or anything like that. It is strictly going to end up being a fragment dragon. And there's a pretty funny story behind this dragon that I'll tell you guys in a minute. These fragments are earned out of the star chart. So I'm so late to actually getting this dragon. It's actually unreal. The thing is, in the off chance, like it says that there's a golden dragon egg for this guy, frankly speaking, there is no reason I would say to sell the gold dragon egg on the player market because frankly speaking, it's too expensive. This dragon costs $400 if you cash shop it. And if you do it free to play, it's gonna take almost a year's worth of daily Cubits with patron, mind you, in order to end up getting the amount of keys that are required to get this guy. And I'll go into a little bit more detail with all of that in a moment, because otherwise, yeah, that caused me physical pain. Okay. So first of all, do we have well, I guess we don't need to have a badge for this dragon, but anyways, the stats on this guy, does he not give me stats? Oh, there it is. So 1000 max health, 1% crit hit, and 50 magic fine. Wow. Devs, like this should be, if there's any dragon in the game that should give a light value, it's this one. That's stupid. So old school Trove players might recognize this guy. New players might not, but yeah. So he is Balefire themed and he's pretty dang awesome. The funny thing is this dragon was originally going to be given to players for free. So if you've been around with Trove for a long enough period of time, you remember there was a time when they were trying to get a Trove mailing list, right? And they wanted people to sign up with their emails and so on and so forth. And unfortunately, they didn't get enough people signing up with their emails. But this was going to be the dragon that you would get if they ended up getting enough people signing up for it. I distinctly remember them showing this dragon in the images. Originally, even further along than that, this dragon, as far as I recall, its earliest iteration was it was going to end up being a new content creator, like friend code dragon. So you know how for the longest time we have the dragon that is now free in the cash shop if you end up buying anything. That was the friend reference dragon, because there's the badge that gives you where's my HUD? There's the badge for like referenced players or whatever. I think it's actually in the social or something. Yeah, refer a friend. There it is. Oh my God. So anyways, you would end up getting the fully maxed out dragon for getting enough refer friends. And then eventually they threw that dragon into the cash shop, which was kind of lame for, being a dragon that was otherwise very exclusive. And then this was going to end up being kind of the 2.0 refer a friend dragon. It wasn't going to give any mastery, as far as I recall, in its absolute earliest iteration. And then eventually they were going to put it into the mailing list. And well, they just completely recycled it and threw it into the star chart. I really like the way that this guy looks. I think his bat wings are beautiful. It reminds me of like World of Warcraft or something. The fireballs themselves are, they're going to end up being actually really cool. It basically looks the same VFX. Oh my goodness gracious. It's very similar VFX to the Primordial Fire Dragon with its fire shot. But what I find most impressive about this guy is the afterburn. Like, look at the explosion and then these little embers that actually land on the ground and do apply visuals to the ground. Do those have physics? Let me see if I shoot here. Yeah, they actually have physics. They go all the way to the ground. Wow, that's actually really cool. And then he's got, you know, a little tail, which is kind of Charizard tail. He's got these nice little fire footprints and everything like that. This is basically the dragon that nobody's going to ever get. I don't remember these tables being here. But anyways, so in order to end up getting this guy, basically all of these slots that have like 2 circles around them are going to end up costing various amounts of keys to unlock each of them, and they will all end up granting a Balefire Dragon Egg fragment up to the maximum of 30. You don't have to actually, you know, spend a Celestial Sphere on the slot. You can just use the key, and that will end up unlocking it and giving you the fragments. So essentially, you don't have to have any slots in your skill tree unlocked. You could just use all of your keys, unlock all of the slots within the skill tree. Now, the trick is that, as I mentioned, if you're buying this for Cubits, it's going to cost you around 800K, actually a little bit over than that. I ended up doing a stream more recently where I literally spent over 500,000 of my own Cubits, and that was half, like I was already halfway done with getting this dragon. And it was a pretty tedious process, at least on PC anyways, because I had to buy them like one at a time over and over and over again. Versus on console, you guys can probably just press A or X over and over again. Or you could spend the credits, which is roughly going to end up being the equivalent of $450 US, somewhere around there, within the credit packs themselves, because you have to buy this like 4.3 times. Something like that. So yeah, roughly $450, which is very, very expensive. But we did it, boys. We finally got this stupid dragon. For the longest time, I could have got this dragon day one, honestly. I had the amount of Cubits in order to do it. But frankly speaking, it was just such a tedious process, and it was not fun in any way, shape, or form. And so I just didn't bother doing it. On top of all of that, you know, I'm kind of spoiled when it comes to Trove, where, you know, I just use my volatile bounder mount just because it's the most utilized mount in the entire game. I don't really use dragons that much anymore, even though this one's really cool, and maybe I'll try and use it a little bit more in videos just to kind of highlight and show it off and just be like, hey, look what you can get for either a crap ton of money or being a dedicated player for a year. And again, I want to do a very heavy, strong reminder here that the only way you can get enough Cubits for this dragon within a year's time is by having patron, because without patron, the amount of star points that you get is basically cut in half. So it would take about like 2 years complete 100% free to play of Cubits in order to get this guy. And honestly, I'm probably miscalculating it, and it's probably actually a lot worse. Anyways, that's gonna do it for me, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I mean, hope you think that this dragon's cool. What do you think? If you like it, smash like, and if you want to support the channel, you can always buy some of the merch, so on and so forth. I'm trying to get all these kind of odds and ends or oddities in terms of videos done before my trip in May, which I've referenced a few times in streams, and I plan to make a specific video talking about the plan with that and blah, 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 blah. That's also the main reason why I haven't had any of the 45K videos come out more recently, just because I'm going to get all of those stockpiled and ready to ship out to you guys during April while I'm away. Okay, so anyways, I just wanted to mention that lastly before we move on. So anyways, have a wonderful day, ladies and gentlemen.